Hi, welcome to Around Atlanta, and we're at Psycho Sisters and Little Five Points. Angie, you've had 3 decades of success. Tell us your experience in opening up your first store in Tallahassee, 1989, and your other stores in 1991 in Sandy Springs.
Okay, so I graduated from University of Florida, and then I went to Florida State for a graduate degree, and I didn't like it. So I decided to own my own business, and I couldn't think of what I wanted to do. So after much contemplation, I thought of the used clothing store because I always loved bargaining and stuff like that. So I started the store with a shoebox for a cash register and a card table and all the bins of all the clothes I had bought at estate sales and garage sales and from the girls that work at the mall in the change of seasons. And so I started with that. And when you graduate from college, they give you a $1,500 credit card. So I used that. And they used to have this thing called a live remote. When the radio station would come out, and I maxed out the whole $1,500 on this one ad campaign, crossing my fingers that it would work. And so when they came out, I wrote a check to my landlord for the last month's rent and the security deposit and first month's rent, and the checks weren't good. But by Monday, all the checks were good, and I had $500 extra to buy more clothes, and that's how we started.
After getting your degree in the University of Florida, what made you open up a vintage store?
I just wanted the freedom to work for myself, and I put all these little different components of what I wanted in my life together. And it was the freedom, the fashion, the people. I made a promise that I would have a job where I could go to work in my pajamas. And I did that.
Starting a new business is expensive. How did you get your capital in opening up a store in Tallahassee?
Well, I was a waitress, and I had a waitress job and then a corporate job during the day. And so I would work a lot of doubles, and I saved a lot of money. And to get my clothes, I would go to the mall and I would talk to all the girls and the district managers, and I would say, please sell me your clothes. So I would show up with a handful of cash, and the girls would sell me all of their clothes from the last season, and I put them in 20 big bins. And so when I opened, I was already stocked up, and everything else just went on a $1,500 credit card to get started.
With so many rental space options, what made you choose Little Five Points?
That's a funny story. So what happened is I was at the Sandy Springs store, and I got this phone call, and this girl said to me, hey, you've got to come over here right away. I've got a space for you in a place called Little Five Points. And I said, I've never heard of it. Please leave me alone. Thank you. Goodbye. And hung up. She called back 3 more times. So on the 3rd time, I said, okay, I'll leave my store. I'll drive there to Little Five Points. I'm terrible with directions. We did not have Siri to tell me how to get here. So I get here, I took one look around this store, and I said, where do I sign? And she smiled, and she said, the landlord's waiting over there at Aurora Coffee for you. And I signed the lease.
With 24,000 Facebook followers, what makes your store so iconic?
When I found Little Five Points, I'd never seen anything like it. And I think it's the reason I moved to Georgia, is because I wanted something like New York City without having to go so far from my family in Florida. So Little Five Points has just been a place where everybody comes in. We have homeless, we have film people, we have people dressing up as pimp and hoes, and we have people that are real pimps and hoes, and we have everything in between. So we have a plethora of all these colorful people, and that's what I loved about it. And the location was fantastic, and that's the story.
Angie, at one time you had 5 stores. What made you downsize to 1?
Oh, no. 5 stores is a panic attack. So I wasn't willing to sell out my freedom for my business. When I started the 5 stores, I wanted to be like a national chain, but I didn't have the lawyers. I didn't have the accountants. I didn't have any leadership to do it because I had to pave my way for all of this. So I just went ahead and downsized to 1 store, and I do it really well.
Psycho Sisters is known for your clever advertising campaigns. Which one do you like the most?
Well, we were doing a regular photo shoot one day, and, like, pearls and all this stuff. And I thought, you know what, this is really boring. So I called the whole team, and I'm like, come here. The photographer was freaking out. He's like, what are you doing? So there was another girl that looked like me, and she was the other Psycho Sisters at the time. So what we did is I brought everybody to the bathroom, and everybody's like, what are you doing? And I had her sit on one toilet, and we've got on white go-go boots and pink dresses, and I sat on the other toilet. I said, okay, now hand me the toilet paper. And the photographers were right there, and we used that as an ad campaign for the back of bathroom walls all over Atlanta. So everything from like family steakhouses to strip clubs, we were on the back of the bathroom walls. And our slogan for that ad campaign was, now that we hold you captive, come shop with us.
Psycho Sisters is known as the friendliest store in Atlanta. Can you tell us why?
Okay, so in Little 5 Points, I believe that every single customer should be treated well and with kindness. And I want every customer to be helped because they're coming here for something specific. And sometimes it's not just for shopping. Sometimes they're a little sad or something and they just want some shopping therapy. So when they come in, we give everybody a little tour of the store and we show them around. And usually when they leave, they have a really big smile on their face.
Being in business for 30 years, I'm sure you've met a lot of people. Can you tell us about your customers?
That's really hard to say because we cater to everybody. I mean, we have had 8-year-old little girls that come in here that now come in are our mothers. And they're like, I remember you. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm still here. So it's just, we have people that are cross-dressers that their wives don't know about and they come in and shop. We have 90-year-old women who get an Uber to come here and shop because they want a 1950s dress. So we cater to anybody that wants to feel good about fashion and about how they look and they want to just break outside that box and wear something funky.
As a role model in the community, how do you impact the young women?
I have been told that I'm an archetype because of this store. This store has just sort of run itself. I reinvent it every year. I keep my employees mostly young, mostly fun, very decadent, very edgy. And so the archetype person is just being a single female and just staying strong, overcoming difficulties. I don't hide anything. I'm pretty genuine and transparent. And I think that the people that come in there see that in all of my employees because everybody that works here needs a place where they can feel comfortable and just be themselves. And I think that that really influences the shoppers over the years.
Can you tell us about your son, Phoenix, and Rosemary Child Love?
Those are two of my favorite subjects. Phoenix, I had prayed to God for a baby. And a week later, a couple that panhandled outside, they played guitar, and they came in and they said that they weren't in a position to have the baby, and they offered the baby to me. And I'm like, no, you don't even know me. And they said, we've been sitting outside for 10 years. We've heard every conversations. We've seen you laugh. We've seen you cry. We've heard your conversations. God said this baby is for you. So I adopted him, and now he's 8, and he's such a joy. And as far as Rosemary Love Child, when all of the news was getting bad, I asked to have something that was meaningful in my life that I could put my attention to so I wouldn't feel so discouraged with the state of the world. And on Facebook, I found an organization called Rosemary Child Love, and they're based out of Uganda, Africa. And I made friends immediately on a live video with the founder, and he's 27 years old. His name is Makawe Constantine. And he was taking care of 40 homeless street children in a dilapidated house. So my store, Psycho Sisters, started to sponsor him. And since then, we have built the Phoenix E Academy, where 80 kids get to go to school that have never had an education. We have given them electricity, and their first movie on the projector we bought them was Forrest Gump. And so we have bought them 19 acres, and they are harvesting all kind of crops and feeding the whole community. And none of that could happen without Psycho Sisters. I'm just so grateful.
Where can we find Psycho Sisters on social media?
I don't know anything about that. I suck at social media. Okay, well, I'll answer that question. I have some of my employees post some things on Facebook, and I do too. And now there's Instagram, and then there's TikTok, and that's just outrageous. So I think that if you go to Instagram, there's thousands of photos and everything, so it just sort of runs itself.
Angie, tell us what you love about Atlanta.
What I love most about Atlanta is the fashion. I've traveled the world, been to about 50 countries, and I love the way everybody dresses in different places. But Atlanta is a hub. We've got international, we've got hip-hop artists, we've got country artists. Everybody comes into this store and shops, and I know who they are, but we never give them a shout-out because we want them to feel comfortable. Atlanta is just everything with fashion and stylists and everything. It's got a soul of its own.
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Victoria Angel, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Hi, I'm Angie at Psycho Sisters and Famous Little 5 Points. Thanks for watching. around Atlanta.
Psycho Sisters is a famous vintage and cool clothing store in trendy Little Five Points, Atlanta. Established in 1991, Angie McLean is still serving Atlanta for more than 30 years. There's no store like Psycho Sisters. They sell the best of every era: vintage, roaring 1920s, 60s hippie, 70s disco, 80s rocker, and trendy modern fur, fringe, leather, and lace, and fun, funky, and unusual accessories to mix and match for any occasion. And of course, festival wear, custom Halloween costumes, and cosplay. Today, the vintage clothing empire is stronger than ever and has become chic with celebrities and popular fashion influencers all over the world. Around Atlanta is inviting you to discover their exclusive collections featuring over 1,000 items spanning from the 1960s to the 1980s. Once you step inside the store, you will be astonished by the endless treasure of affordable, fashionable, high-quality, vintage clothing. Thank you for watching Around Atlanta. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.